Welcome back to Smok'n Jay's Garage. We are going to do another oil change video today because this car is the hardest car that I've ever had to change the oil on because there's a lot to do underneath, and I'll get to that and I'll show you. I don't really feel like doing it today, I'll be honest, but this is my daily driver and I change the oil on it twice a year in spring and fall. I'm doing the fall change now because it's like 35 degrees out today and tomorrow is supposed to be like 12. So, we're going to crawl underneath there. I've got my stuff ready. At least I think I got everything I need. Underneath this car, there is a skid plate, a plastic plate underneath the entire bottom of the car. This is a 2004, and I believe in 2005, they put a little access door where the oil drain plug is, but on 2004 and older, they do not have that. And you've got to pull all of that off. There's like 3 different pieces you got to get to. So we're going to get underneath there and I'll show you what you got to do. So this piece here has to come off, this piece has to come off, and this piece has to come off. If you look right here, there is a jacking point there. That's what I use my floor jack. I jacked up in the center, and then obviously I'm on jack stands there, which if you're going to crawl underneath, you're probably going to want to be on jack stands as well. We need a Phillips screwdriver, and I will show you how to pull that off. This piece is going to come off first. This is a used car. Obviously, I'm missing some pieces. There are 3 screws here. I don't have these 3 screws. There are 3 screws back here. I think I've only got one of them that holds. And there are 2 screws, one on either side here. We're going to pull all of those off. Now, these screws hold on to the plastic piece themselves, and they only take about 1 turn to loosen them. So we're going to pull that off. And as soon as I get this one, we're going to be able to slide this piece off. There we go. Now on to the next piece. There's going to be one right here. This is going to fall down here. There's one right here. There's one on this end, and there is one right in the middle. Looks like I got a little bit of an oil leak here. I got a lot of that stuff going on. And I think we don't have to pull out that 3rd one. We can get by with just these 2. Just slide this piece down. A little oil leak under there because there's nowhere for it to go. Can really make a mess out of those plastic. And clearly I have a small oil leak, or maybe a big one. But I've never been low on oil, so there's not a whole lot leaking out. I got those outside. I'll spray them with a degreaser, get them nice and cleaned up for when we put them back in. 17 millimeter is what you are going to need to loosen your drain plug, and we'll get back on there and I'll show you where it is. Right here is the drain plug. That's 17 millimeter. I got a towel ready because I'm going to need that. I cracked that loose already off camera so that I wouldn't have to fight with it. It was obviously tighter than that. And there we go. I just dropped the crush washer. We'll pull that out later. I've got the plug in my hand, so we're good. I clean off the oil plug. Like I mentioned, I dropped the crush washer, but that's okay because when you get a new filter, it's going to come with a crush washer. I'm using a K&N, a PS7007. That is going to come with a filter. It's going to come with a new rubber seal. That's the filter. And it's going to come in a bag with a new crush washer and a rubber seal. I always put a new crush washer on. I'm going to leave it in the bag. I'll put it on right now because I'm not going to lose it. So there we go. We got our new crush washer on there. They don't use a rubber seal like a lot of drain plugs do. They use this crush washer instead to keep it from leaking. So we're going to set this off to the side where we don't lose it, and we'll pull out the filter. I have the cap off to allow air to let all that drain out. Right here is the oil filter. That is going to be a 36 millimeter socket. If you don't have one, I've used an adjustable wrench. If it opens up wide enough, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. But if you get one of these wrenches, they actually make it right for this, and you can get it in rather than in the tools section of your local hardware store. They're probably going to have it next to the oil or the oil filters, and that just unscrews, and we're going to pop out that filter. And this one's in pretty bad shape. So I'm just gonna let this drip here a little bit before I pull it all the way out, because I want my my oil drain pan from underneath to put that on. So I'm gonna let that drip here just a little bit, let it finish dripping from underneath as well. We've got this pretty much drained here. It's kind of nasty looking. I probably waited a little too long to change this one. This filter's getting pretty crushed up and nasty. But I'm gonna pull my oil pan out, my drain pan, and I want to not make a mess anywhere. So I'm going to stick my plug in. We're pretty much done draining on the bottom. What I did while we were waiting for this oil to drain is I went and checked my windshield washer fluid. I checked my transmission fluid, and I checked my brake fluid. Your radiator coolant here is kind of unique, at least to me. I haven't had another vehicle that's like this. Once you take your cap off, this here just floats up. That lets you know that you're good to go. Because it floats on top of your coolant, and when your coolant is low, this will just be low. It won't be sticking up, and that will trigger your light inside your vehicle as well. So that's just something you can check. Also, the plastic skid plates that we took off of the bottom, I put a little degreaser on those, and I cleaned those up a little bit so that they aren't quite such a mess when we put them back on. So we're going to crawl underneath. I'm going to stick the plug in and grab my oil pan. Now, I don't want to over tighten this because I don't want to strip anything. I don't want to make it too tight. We're just going to get it good and snug. Push this out of the way here a little bit. And then I'm also going to, I'll come back and wipe that little bit off that's the wrong way. When I'm backwards, I get confused on which way is which. So I'm going to get this snug, get that crush washer in there nice and crushed, but I'll wipe this off afterwards. All right. We're just going to slide this out, try not to make a mess. This is just going to pull straight out. This is the crush washer that we dropped on the old one. I'm going to set this off to the side because I don't want that in my used oil. I sell my used oil, so I don't want... the gentleman who buys it from me runs it in his diesel instead of diesel fuel. And I don't want a crush washer in his gas tank. I'm sure he doesn't either. So your new filter, well, before I put the filter on, we're going to pop off this O-ring right here. I'm going to use a screwdriver to pop the old one off. If you turn around here, I think there's a little notch. I can't find it in the light here. I'm just going to pop this off. I don't mind using a screwdriver to pull the old one off, but I do not like using a screwdriver to put the new one on, just in case I were to hit it. I'm going to use just some of this old oil, get this lubricated a little bit. If your oil is too nasty, use fresh oil, but this doesn't look too bad. So I'm going to lube this up a little bit, kind of make a mess on my hands. Lube that up a little bit, that's going to make it easier to slide on. There we go. Flip that around, and I'll just roll it right on. There we go. And our new filter. Just gonna push. There we go. Just like that. And I'm gonna wipe this down, and I'll put it back in. I don't like oil all over this, so I'm just wiping off what I got on my hand, and then that just slides right back down in there and screws in. We're not going to want to over tighten this again. We're just going to get it snug. Once we get it down there, I'll grab our wrench. That O-ring in there is fairly snug, so it's going to move. Not, I wouldn't say it moves hard, but it's snug. You will feel when it's tight. There we go. All right, I got my pieces cleaned up a little bit, ready to put back on. The spot that has the round back, that goes towards the back because there's a brace there that goes on. And this is kind of a pain in the ass to get on, but we'll see if we can get them first try. I'll slide this underneath there, and this one has to go on first. We're going to work this up here on this side, or either side that you choose first, between your A-arm. There we go. Slide that up like so, and hopefully this is lined up, and we'll start to screw in. There we go. And the third one. I don't have that one lined up right, or I don't have something on the other side. All right, let's go. This piece is going to go in front first, like so, and then it holds this piece in. Now, like I mentioned before, I'm missing some of these. You should possibly have all of yours. Hopefully you do. Right, and I've got the ones on the end here. All right, those are in, and I don't think I have this side lined up. All right, I got that all on. I'm gonna jack it back up, pull the jack stands out, and we're gonna put oil in. I am using a full synthetic 5W20 oil. The BMW actually recommends Castrol, but I don't use them because they're expensive. I use the generic one. Depending on which model you have, I think I told you I have the 325xi. That is the all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive actually takes more oil because the oil pan is set differently than the two-wheel drive model, because it has to have room for the axles in the front, because BMW's two-wheel drive is actually rear-wheel drive. So I believe this one is going to take 8 quarts, if I remember correctly. We're going to not put in quite that many and check it first, though. If you have the two-wheel drive, the 325i, then I think it's 6.5 quarts, but I'm not positive. You'll have to keep an eye on it as you fill it up. All right, I ran the car for about 4 or 5 minutes tops. Let everything fill up the oil filter, all that kind of stuff too, and we check it. I can never get this to show up very good on camera, but this right here is the full mark. That's what you're looking for. And it's there. I don't know if you can see it or not. I put in, I believe, 8 quarts. I had a couple of partial jugs, so I'm not positive. But I think I put in 8 quarts. So we are almost, at the time of filming this, almost to 500 subscribers, which is halfway to our goal of getting paid. So if you're watching this channel for the first time, make sure that you subscribe. Maybe share this video, maybe get somebody else to subscribe, because if this is the kind of stuff we do for free, maybe not this, but we've had better videos. For free, imagine what we do for some money. So make sure that you subscribe. A boom.